कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदा यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदा यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Shri Shri Gauranitai. Jaya Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, Radhe Jaya Radha. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Subhadra Mai, Jaya Sudarshana. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura. जय गौर प्रेमानंदे। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तनम यज्ञ की, श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायामुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So I'd like to seek blessings of all the assembled Vaishnavas here, and especially all the senior devotees. His Grace Sundar Sham Prabhu, His Grace Vamshivadan Prabhu, His Grace Revativati Prabhu is there, I think. His Grace Mahavir Prabhu and everyone. So I'm very small, just like a kid here among all the august assembly of Vaishnavas. But it's just for the sake of service, we like to have this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam verse. So today we are having this verse 6.16.35, 6th canto, chapter 16, 35th verse. Tava vibhava khalu bhagavan Jagat udaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrajaste amshamshas Tatra mrisha sparadhanti prithag abhimatya Tava vibhava khalu bhagavan Jagad udaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrijaste amshamshas Tatra mrisha sparadhanti prithag abhimatya Tava vibhava khalu bhagavan Jagad udaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrijaste amshamshas Tatra mrisha sparadhanti prithag abhimatya Vibhava khalu bhagavan Tantra mrisha sparadhanti Vibhava khalu bhagavan Jagaduthaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrijastyam shamshas Tatra mrisha sparadhanti prithag abhimatya Matajis Tava vibhava khalu bhagavan Jagadudaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrijastyam shamshas Tatra mrisha sparadhanti prithag abhimatya What Jagadudaya sthiti layadini Vishwasrijastyam shamshas Word to word meaning, translation, purport by His Divine Grace Isi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ji के द्वारा Srila Prabhupada की जय. Word to word meaning Tava, your, Vibhavaha, opulences, Khalu, indeed, Bhagavan, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Jagat, of the cosmic manifestation, Udaya, the creation, Sthiti, maintenance, Laya Adini, dissolution and so on. Vishwasrijaha, the creators of the manifested world. Te, they. Amshamsha, parts of your plenary portion. Tatra, in that. Mrisha, in vain. Isparadhanti, rival one another. Prithag, of separateness. Abhimatya, by a false conception. Translation, my dear Lord, this cosmic manifestation and its creation, maintenance and annihilation are all but your opulences. Since Lord Brahma and other creators are nothing but small portions of a portion of you, their partial power to create does not make them God, Ishvara. Their consciousness of themselves as separate lords is therefore merely false prestige. It is not valid. Purport, a devotee who has fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord knows very well that the creative energy of the living entities, from Lord Brahma down to the small ant, exist because the living entities are part and parcel of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 15.7, the Lord says, Mamevamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. The living entities are nothing but very small portions of the Supreme Spirit, like sparks of a fire. Because they are part of the Supreme, they have a creative quality in a very minute quantity. The so-called scientists of the modern materialistic world are proud because they have created modern facilities like great airplanes. But the credit for creating the airplanes should go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not to the scientists who have invented or created the so-called wonderful products. The first consideration is the intelligence of the scientist. One must be elevated by the dictation of the Supreme Lord, who says in Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Matta asmatir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. Because the Supreme Lord as Super Soul sits within the core of every living entity's heart, the dictation by which one advances in scientific knowledge or creative faculties comes from him. Furthermore, the ingredients to manufacture wonderful machines like airplanes are also supplied by the Lord, not by the scientists. Before the airplane was created, its ingredients already existed, having been caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when the manifested creation of the airplane is ruined, the remaining debris is a problem for the so-called creators. Another example is that the West is creating many automobiles. The ingredients for these cars are supplied, of course, by the Supreme Lord, and the intelligence for the so-called creation is also supplied by the Lord. Ultimately, when the cars are demolished, the so-called creators are faced with problem of what to do with their ingredients. The actual creator, the original creator, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only in the interim does someone create something with intelligence supplied by the Lord, and later the creation again becomes a problem. Therefore, the so-called creator is not to be credited with the act of creation. The only credit goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is rightly stated herein that the credit for all the opulences of creation, maintenance and annihilation belongs to the Supreme Lord, not to the living entities. Jai Shri Gaunitai ki, Jai Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Bhagwan ki, Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subramaya ki, Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai. Om Gyante Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishvanamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvashe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shiradhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishvanebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So here the episode of Maharaj Chitraketu is going on. So Chitraketu Maharaj, he has just got the darshan of the Lord, after his following the instruction of Sri Narada Muniji. So he gave him the transcendental mantras, and that's how he chanted those mantras. Then in 7 days, he got the darshan of the Lord. So the first prayer after having the darshan of the Lord, the first prayer was yesterday, which Maharaj described very beautifully. So that yesterday's discussion was, what Chitraketu Maharaj prayed was that how the Lord and devotees, they are conquered by each other. So out of love, the Lord becomes the servant of his devotees. So very nicely Maharaj was explaining also how the Lord, he would even dance when the gopis would ask the Lord to take charge. So it's very beautifully described that how Lord becomes, just like a dancing puppet in the hands of his devotees. And also devotees also is completely under the control of the Lord. Like this very beautifully Maharaj was describing yesterday. And today's verse also, we find here, the Prabhupada starts with the purport saying, a devotee who has fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord knows very well that the creative energy of the living entities from Lord Brahma down to the small ant exist because the living entities are part and parcel of the Lord. So the beginning is with that devotee who has fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is what we see, that how Chitraketu Maharaj, because he surrendered to his Guru, Sri Narada Muni, and that's how he surrendered to the Lord, and that's how he got the darshan of the Lord. So the Lord reveals himself to the devotee because of the surrender of a devotee toward the Lord. So this principle we can clearly see all throughout Srimad Bhagavatam. Only those who have surrendered to their spiritual master, and also that way they surrender to the Lord, then only Lord is pleased by such surrender of the devotee, and that's how he reveals himself. So Lord is not subjected to someone's speculation. Nobody can understand the Lord by any other means. But the Lord, when he is pleased by the sincere service rendered by the disciple to his spiritual master, then the Lord is very happy to reveal himself to that devotee. So this we can very clearly see. That's why the darshan of the Lord is only accessible to the bhakta, the devotee of the Lord, not to any other category of people, be it karmi, yogi, jnani, anybody else. Because they all have their own selfish agendas. They are not having that selfless, loving service attitude towards the Lord. That's how they don't get access to the Lord's confidential secrets about his name, form, pastimes, etc. But because the devotee, he comes to the Lord without any agenda. He only wants to love the Lord. He only wants to serve him and please him. So this is how the Lord becomes so pleased with this attitude of a devotee. But all other people, they have their own program, they have their own agendas. Like karmi, they want to get so many material desires fulfilled in this world. Jnani, they get frustrated because of their experience in this world, and now they don't want misery. So they may be ready to give up some gratification, but again, they are not inclined to serve the Lord. So that way, they are still selfishly motivated because they just want to avoid misery. And the yogi may want to have more powers to control the material nature. But none of them are actually interested in the Lord. So only a devotee is actually, truly interested in satisfying the Lord. So that's how the bhakta category is completely different from all these people. Though in the outside world, sometimes a devotee, yogi, jnani, everybody may be seen as, okay, it's all very nice, great yogi. He's a great jnani. He's a great karmakandi, whatever. But by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, when we hear in Guru Parampara, then we can clearly understand that a devotee category is completely different from all these other personalities actually. Actually, none of them, they may be on so-called transcendental path, but of course they may eventually come to the bhakti platform. So that way we adore them for their own respective qualities they may possess, or they may be making some advancement in their path to God, in their path to Krishna. But when we see objectively, then we understand that how only a devotee is not motivated by any other desire than just to please and serve the Lord, like that. So just like a father is very happy to reveal all the confidential secrets about his business or anything to a son who is very obedient and approaches the father out of love. So like Srila Prabhupada was telling in one of the lectures, he was telling, the Lord is so merciful, he is so benevolent, that he even wants to make his partner and parcel his business partner. Means what? He just sees, he doesn't see any difference. Like he said, in kingdom of God, there is no difference between God and his devotees. So Lord is also serving the devotees. There is There is no, so Lord is not so, Lord is, though he is Bhagavan, but he is not attached to his Bhagavata. He's simply just trying to serve the devotees like that. So just like father may make the son as owner of the company. So Lord also becomes like that. He just becomes the assistant of his devotee itself. So this is the benevolent nature of the Lord. And the Lord becomes sold out servant of his devotees who have no other motive than to serve and please the Lord. And devotee becomes so innocent because he doesn't have any kind of material motives. So he just becomes like an innocent child. Like another day when I was coming, so I saw a devotee having his child literally on his head, like on shoulder. And he was talking to, one brahmachari, Nimanita Prabhu from Juhu. So they were interacting very nicely, but the son is climbed on the shoulder and nicely enjoying there. So if you see in terms of qualification and all that thing, there's brahmachari there, or also his father itself is in a superior position. But because of the innocence, there is no problem. Because of the innocence of the child, he is not calculating, now I have become greater than my father or something like that. It is just out of love. He's very innocent. Out of love, the father and son, they have this kind of reciprocation. And then I saw that then another devotee was coming, then he offered obeisances. His father was offering obeisances. Immediately he took the child and put on the floor. So now from very top position, he has come to that floor. But still, the child is happy, father is happy, because they are in a relationship of love. So there is, he is not affected at all, because he is simply in very sweet, loving relationship with his father, like that. So same way we see here, Chitraketu Maharaj is getting darshan of the Lord, and he is having got a really elevated position now. But we have heard that how he had become even Vritrasur later, but he did not mind that. Narayana para sarve na kutashana bibbati swarga pavarga narkeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. For a devotee of the Lord, it doesn't matter. Wherever the Lord keeps him, because he is in sweet relationship with the Lord, out of love, so both of them are very happy, because the Lord is epitome of innocence, and the devotee also acquires the same qualities of being very innocent, because he doesn't have any other motivation than to serve and please the Lord. And the Lord also doesn't want anything but to serve and please the devotees only. That's what we hear in Bhagavad Gita also. The Lord has no work to do. His only thing what he wants to do is just to reciprocate with the love of his devotees, to serve his devotees. This is how the Lord disposition is, and that's how the devotee's disposition is. Both are extremely innocent. And also we find, like in Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada says that knowledge means knowing the matter, spirit, and controller of both. So this thing only devotee has clear understanding. Philosophically also speaking, that only devotee knows this clearly. Otherwise, Mayavadis, they may only talk about Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. So they don't have proper understanding about the matter and the spirit proper. Same way atheists, they may simply be interested in matter. They may have to do anything with spirit and control of both, like that. But a devotee has full understanding of the matter, spirit, and control of both, and the relationship between them, and even much higher. Like as we discussed, that Lord reveals more about himself to that devotee, his name, form, pastimes, etc. As the devotee progresses in his devotion to the Lord. So this is how we find that this surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord, that's how the devotee becomes qualified to actually receive the mercy of the Lord and get the darshan of the Lord. And another important thing in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about that how all credit belongs to Krishna. There may be so many creations in this world, but ultimately the credit goes to the Lord. So he gives the example of aeroplane and the automobiles, the car specifically. He says that how even the ingredients also are supplied by the Lord only, for aeroplane and car both. And the intelligence also of those scientists who are claiming that they are the creator, that is also supplied by the Lord. So Prabhupada says another place that how, if suppose there's a carpenter and we supply him the wood to make some furnitures, and after he makes the furniture and then he says, now the furniture has become mine, and you want to take that sofa or whatever to your home, and he says, no, because I made it, it's mine now. But it doesn't work like that, because the whole wood, the ingredient was supplied by the owner of that wood, the person who gave him that. So it actually belongs to him logically. So same way, everything in this world actually is coming from the Lord. Aham sarvasya prabhu, matta sarvam pravatite, iti matva bhajante mam, buddha bhava samanvitaha. So everything is emanating from the Lord only. So if you have to create anything, then you have to first take the ingredients from the Lord. that way the Lord remains the owner. Lord actually remains the, He's the cause of all the creation in that sense, like that. Like one person, in Christianity, there is a joke they say. They say that, like, they have this, that man is coming from the dirt, and again after death he goes back to the dirt. So one particular person, he challenged the God. He said that, oh Lord, actually I can create better than you. Then Lord said, okay, fine. So what do you want to create? He said, I want to create a man, better than you. He said, okay, fine, create. And then it says, okay, he started taking the dirt, soil, to make the man. The Lord says, but create your own soil first. Create your own dirt first. So literally speaking, we cannot have anything to create in this world without depending on the Lord. So that way, Lord remains the creator, is the cause of all creation, that way. So, and the ultimate purpose of this material creation is to reclaim the conditioned souls back to Him. That's the ultimate purpose of the material creation. So Lord executes this purpose in two ways. Basically, because there are two kinds of living entities. Broadly, we can categorize like that. So one category of people are those who want to forget the Lord, and they just want to enjoy independent of Him. They are one category of people. And the other category of people are those who are now they are wanting to remember the Lord. They are preparing themselves to go back to Godhead. So the Lord has created this world ultimately for the purpose of reclaiming all the souls back to Him. But the functionality of this material world happens depending on which category the person is in. So those who want to forget Him and they want to enjoy independent of the Lord, so for them, the Lord gives them this world to enjoy independent of Him. So He may endeavor in different ways, and the Lord may facilitate also. As super soul, He may facilitate, He may sanction through material nature different varieties of sense enjoyment and different varieties of material pleasures, different bodies, all that He keeps getting. And He tries very hard, trying to fulfill His various material desires, and based on His karma, He may fulfill some of them in this life, many more in another lives, keeps getting so many bodies. So it keeps happening with Him like that. So that way, the material world is also to facilitate the desire of the jiva to enjoy independent of the Lord. That also the material world is created this way. So there may be different creations in this world, which we may feel very bad about, why these things are there, why that is there. But there's a purpose, because there are jivas who are not wanting to remember the Lord. So there is a facility for them to forget the Lord also. So this is how the Lord arranges for them. Krishna bhuliya jiva bhoga vancha kare, nikatastha maya tare, jhapatiya tare. So as soon as he forgets the Lord, or he wants to forget the Lord, then Maya Devi is there to take in charge of that person. And the purpose is that, as in when he gets repeated kicks, he gets frustrated, he understands actually he's not becoming happy in all his attempts. Then he may be fortunate to realize that actually I am actually frustrated in this world. He may understand his awkward position. He may begin to inquire, athato brahma jigyasa. That may happen. So when that may happen, and if he has fortune to have some devotee in his life, then he may take up the devotional service. So that is the purpose. So if he is not surrendering to Krishna, then so much of suffering is awaiting the jiva, and that may be the impetus for him to become inquisitive to some extent, sooner or later. That's the hope. So that way the Lord is waiting, when this fellow will tend to inquire, because he's not becoming happy. Some point of time, let him inquire. That the example of two birds is given also. We find that how one bird, Paramatma, is waiting for the other bird, Jivatma, who is just trying to enjoy, different pleasures and pains in this world. So when these kind of people, so when they are repeatedly defeated, then they may inquire, and then the Lord may also take charge of them. So for them, basically material nature only takes care. Prakriti karmanani gune karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham initi manyate. So he considers himself to be the doer then. He thinks that I am the creator, I am the doer. This is what his consciousness is, the one who is not surrendered to Krishna. And if something bad happens, then he will blame the God. He will discredit the God. Either he will not believe only. And if at all, many times even atheists also, even though they don't believe in God, when something bad happens, they will blame the God. Like that it is. So, but the point is that they will discredit the Lord. That will happen with them. And the other category of people are those who are trying to remember Him. So those are trying to remember. So Krishna takes charge of those souls, and he facilitates them in a more direct way to help the jiva to come back to him. So this is a special favor to the devotees, because they are surrendering to the Lord. It is like that. Just like a teacher may give an extra favor to a student who is more sincere. He's approaching with good desires to the teacher. So the teacher may also accordingly favor the student. So same way here also. So Srila Prabhupada writes in second chapter of 53rd verse purport in Bhagavad Gita, in Krishna consciousness one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in that transcendental state, and one is sure to achieve results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has only to carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. So this is how a devotee gets the direction from the Lord directly, because he is surrendering to Krishna. That way it happens. And of course, the same Supreme Lord, as Paramatma within, who may directly guide a pure devotee who has got fully purified, for a person who may yet to have the full purification, but he is surrendering to Krishna through a spiritual master. So the Lord manifests himself in the form of a spiritual master, and then the same guidance of the Lord is given, or is arranged for a devotee who is in the process of surrendering to the Lord. So that way, through the order of the spiritual master, that means, so spiritual master is actually nothing but the mouthpiece of Paramatma. So Paramatma's voice is amplified through the words of spiritual master, through spiritual master. So a disciple, when he becomes submissive to the instructions and orders of Krishna through his representative, so that's how he also gets all directions, very direct directions for going back to Godhead. And if a devotee finds anything apparently bad in his life, apparently bad, so what way his attitude is, that is also given in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, purport. Prabhupada says, there's a purport of Dukheshu Anudvik Manaha Sukheshu Vigataspраha, that shloka's purport. He says that such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds, and he sees that his miseries by the grace of the Lord are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. So this is his consciousness. When he apparently encounters anything which is not commonly may not be desirable, so he sees that also as mercy of the Lord to help him to grow in that situation in his devotion, and ultimately attain the shelter of the Lord. So the Tesham Sadayuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhim Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayanti. That's how the Lord actually directs. So like here Prabhupada is telling that the intelligence is coming from the Lord. So this kind of two kinds of intelligence we could see here. For the person who is actually trying to forget the Lord, so Lord only provides him the intelligence by which he engages in so many activities by which he remains forgetful of the Lord. And the one who is sincerely trying to approach the Lord with the desire to surrender him, so Lord supplies him intelligence to the words of his spiritual master, and very directly to a pure devotee, he directs his senses very direct way also, like that. So this is how the Lord supplies the intelligence. And those who are wanting to take up the mission of the Lord, so Lord also, so like why this point may come is like we see that how Prahlad Maharaj, he also says that he's not just worrying about himself, his own deliverance, but he's also thinking about many others, that they also should go back to Godhead. So, and even he condemns that those who go to the Himalayas for their own deliverance, he condemns them actually in that way. So even though somebody may comfortably get the direction of the Lord by his surrender to Krishna and may go back to Godhead, but Prahlad Maharaj is wanting a step forward. He is praying that, yeah, I may be very much engaged in your glorification, I may be absorbed in you, but actually I am worrying about those souls who are just foolishly carrying out the burden of enjoyment, material enjoyment in this world. Naivo dvija paratya vaitaranya swadavire gayana mahamrita magna chittaha shoche tato vimuka chetasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharamudvato vimudhan. So that's what he is feeling, out of compassion. So this is a special mood of Srila Prabhupada, that he is not only telling that you go back to Godhead, but he's very much wanting that actually every follower of his should also extend for other jivas, that they also should get the mercy of Lord. So this mood is very much there. So this is a Prahlad Maharaj mood which our Srila Prabhupada is also carrying. And in his footsteps, which we also are trying to, we also should try to assist in the mission of Srila Prabhupada in that way. So amazingly, Srila Prabhupada has given this missionary mood in all the aspects of our devotional service. Like, beautiful deity worship goes on. The Lord is decorated in so wonderful way. So any newcomer also comes. So it's a powerful preaching actually, because anybody comes. Another day in Bhagavatam class, it was described that how, I think Radhesham was speaking, that some people came from Hyderabad, to see the darshan of Radha Vrindavan Chandra. They're so beautiful. So, they couldn't hold themselves in Hyderabad. They had to come. They're new people. So see, there's a powerful preaching happening just because Lord is served so nicely and Lord is, exhibiting His beauty so wonderful because He's so pleased by the sincere service of so many pujaris here. So that's how the Lord, what I mean to say is that the mood of, being a missionary is all pervading in our organization. Srila Prabhupada has given, Srila Prabhupada has given us ISKCON, and that mood is there all throughout. So a devotee may be, settling the account in Jeevdaya, or somebody may be, preparing prasadam. But ultimately, it's all, with the focus of serving Srila Prabhupada's mission. So this is very amazing way, Prabhupada has given us this mood, which is kind of extra step, of like those who just don't want to go back to Godhead, but they're actually wanting to help many, many more also to go, to help them to get the mercy of Lord, go back home back to Godhead. And also by that, our confirmation also happens, more. We also get more confirmation about going back to Godhead, that way. So it's not that we have to be proud about it, but it's a kind of extra facility for us in that sense. So we can see also that how Srila Prabhupada, okay, this is, yeah. Anyway, so this is so I will just discuss the Brahmaji's prayers, that how he was praying for the empowerment, and so we'll just see a little bit from there. So just to have kind of gist of the prayers what Brahmaji prays. So the first prayer what Brahmaji offers to the Lord is the prayer for empowerment. Like we know the episode that how Brahmaji was completely not knowing what to do when he was when he appeared from the lotus, from the lotus navel, the lotus flower, and then Brahmaji was created. Brahmaji was there, but he was not able to understand his source. Who is he? Who am I? All that he asked the question to himself only. And then afterwards, when he focuses his mind on the Supreme Lord for 100 years, then the Lord is pleased by his surrender. And that's how he gets the darshan of the Lord. Same theme, by surrender of Brahmaji, the Lord is pleased to reveal him. And then he gets the darshan of the Lord, and then he offers beautiful prayers, and then he is praying for the empowerment also. So basically the three main theme of those prayers. The first thing is prayer for empowerment. So here we can see how Brahmaji is willing to serve the Lord. It's a very difficult task of creation, secondary creation, what Brahmaji is supposed to accomplish. It's a very, very difficult task. And Brahmaji had no clue how to do it. He had no facilities, no ability, nothing he had. But only one thing he had, that was service attitude. So his contribution, so we can say it's, so in general also, for us, we can also always see that what we have is nothing, of our own. Only thing what we have is willingness to serve. So if that willingness to serve is there, then we can offer a genuine prayer to the Lord for empowerment. Then everything else may come. The facilities, the ability, and whatever is required, funds, whatever it is. So everything will be supplied by the Lord when the Lord sees the genuine desire of a devotee to serve him without any ulterior motive. Like His Holiness Radha Swami Maharaj says, you have to be sincere, serious, without any ulterior motives. So this is how the Lord is pleased to give so much empowerment to that devotee. So that's how he prays to the Lord, for the empowerment. And we can see Srila Prabhupada also praying like that when he was in Jalduta. He was saying that, no, I don't have any qualifications, But Prabhupada's mood was that he's just trying to go on the instruction of his spiritual master. So he was praying, oh Lord, you give me those words by which these people will be convinced, So by your words, they can only, be come out of the illusion. I have no strength, I have no power. That's what Srila Prabhupada's mood was. Prabhupada was very extensively praying. And also, I heard from his Radha Swami Maharaj, he was telling that how Prabhupada, he would go to Shantipur in one particular temple, and he would pray, he would chant actually whole day, and many times he would be crying, very helpless cry like that to the Lord. So one pujari noticed him that this Babuji comes every day and he's chanting and very intensely chanting and crying in front of the Lord. So what's the matter? So he goes and inquires, no, who are you and what happened? What has happened to you? Could you tell something? Then Prabhupada says, that actually I have got an impossible mission. So I cannot do anything but just sincerely pray and cry. What can I do? My spiritual master has given me one impossible mission like that. So anyway, then quite many years later, when Srila Prabhupada actually has gone to West and he has come back with disciples. So when Back to Godhead magazine that Pujari had got that Back to Godhead magazine. And in that he finds the same person who'd come there and chant very intensely and pray. So then he said to that person who gave him Back to Godhead magazine, no, who is this person? He said, he's our guru. He's Srila Prabhupada, you don't know. He has created such a great revolution and all that. And he's saying, I knew that this person is not ordinary. So he's saying, then he told this pastime of Prabhupada, that how he would come there. So he told that, yes, your guru would come here and he would pray like that. So Srila Prabhupada had cried so much tears and prayed so much helplessly for the empowerment out of his great desire to fulfill the instruction of his spiritual master, and also out of his great compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. And the second point, the Brahmaji also prays for protection from the false pride, because when we render service, then the pride may come, because we may start thinking, seeing apparent success, apparent accomplishment, we may start thinking that I am the doer, I have done this all. So there is a great danger of getting pride, false pride. So here, I'll just read. Brahma, who is only an assistant in the matter of creation, wanted to remain in his actual position of an instrument of the Lord, instead of becoming puffed up by the false prestige of thinking himself the creator. That is the way of becoming dear to the Supreme Lord and receiving his full benediction. Foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Thus all credit for wonderful creations must go to him. By spiritual consciousness only, one can be free from the contamination of material influences and receive the benedictions offered by the Lord. So we can see here that how Brahmaji, he actually had desire to just remain in the position of being instrument of the Lord, and not anyway get puffed up by the false prestige of thinking that he is the creator. So this is the mood of a devotee, to always remain an assistant in any service. Even in deity worship also, I've heard that the mood is that we are assisting the spiritual master. It's not that I am worshipping the Lord or something. So there is an inherent mood in any aspect of our devotional service, because practically speaking, for any service we need empowerment. It's not about, in the eyes of the world when something great is there, so-called great in the eyes of the world. But practically speaking, any service, even as simple as doing brooming, mopping also, because we know that when we are very sick, sometimes even that also we may not be able to do. That means we need empowerment even for that also. But the point is, we are always having this mood of, we need to have always the mood of assistant. That I am here to assist the Lord, assist in the service of my Guru. So this is the mood. And he's telling that when this kind of mood is there, then we become dear, then only we become dear to the Supreme Lord. And when that way someone becomes dear to the Supreme Lord, then the Lord gives him full benediction. That means Lord doesn't hesitate. He receives the full benediction of the Lord like that. But if we tend to take credit, so that way we actually obstruct the blessing of the Lord in full-fledged manner. And that's a great danger. And what the great danger? Then when we get deviated. That's why the third prayer is, he's praying for saving him from deviation also. So for this point of assistant, having the mood of assistant, so this is the mood of Srila Prabhupada also we find. Srila Prabhupada, when he was preaching so powerfully, and so many hippies were becoming happies, they're becoming wonderful devotees of the Lord. So then Srila Prabhupada, and not only that, they were becoming the instrument in creating big revolutions. We hear that how three couples, they created so big revolution. So like that, Prabhupada was making them instrument also. So Prabhupada, he was simply having the mood that I'm simply trying to assist my spiritual master, and spiritual master has sent all of you. So I'm simply a servant. He was in the mood of assisting his disciples also, like that. So he was not thinking that, I have created all that or I am doing all that. So he was thinking that all my spiritual master is doing everything through all of you. So my spiritual master is doing everything through all of you. So he is not recognizing his, that I am doing something like that. He is simply happy that I am just trying to facilitate this way. So this is the mood which Srila Prabhupada also had. Another place when Srila Prabhupada was there in one assembly, he was giving lecture. So these people are quite apprehensive about the divisions, the caste divisions, that Varna, Ashrama and all that. So when Prabhupada explaining this about Varna, when he was explaining about Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, so one of the person in the audience, he became very upset. He became very disturbed. And he said, he stood up and he said, Swamiji, what do you think? Which class you are? And then Prabhupada says, actually, Prabhu was describing, he was saying I was personally sitting in that class. He said, I could see there were tears in the eyes of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, in a very truly genuine, humble way, he said, I am 5th class. I am simply a servant of all this. Like that Prabhupada explained. So this was the purpose mood. In such a most provoking situation also, Prabhupada, we could see that the Prabhupada's mood was so clear that he is simply a servant of all. That's what his mood was. Then the third prayer was, save me from the deviation. So I'll just read that how Brahmaji is also, the purport Prabhupada very nicely tells. He says, every person engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord in this material world is prone to so many material activities. And if one is not strong enough to protect himself against the onslaught of material influence, he may be diverted from the spiritual energy. In the material creation, Brahma has to create all kinds of living entities with bodies suitable to their material conditions. Brahma wants to be protected by the Lord because he has to contact many, many vicious living entities. An ordinary Brahmana may fall from the Brahma Tejas or the power of Brahminical excellence due to his association with many fallen conditioned souls. Brahma, as the supermost Brahmana, is afraid of such fall down, and therefore he prays to the Lord for protection. This is a warning for one and all in the spiritual advancement of life. Unless one is sufficiently protected by the Lord, he may fall down from his spiritual position. Therefore, one has to pray constantly to the Lord for protection and blessings to carry out one's duty. Lord Chaitanya also entrusted his missionary work to his devotees and assured them of his protection against the onslaught of material influence. The path of spiritual life is stated in the Vedas to be like the edge of a sharpened razor. A little inattentiveness may at once create havoc and bloodshed, but one who is completely surrendered soul, always seeking protection from the Lord in the discharge of his entrusted duties, has no fear of falling into material contamination. So here, the fear of fall down, being very aware of the pitfalls, that there is a possibility of getting affected, and then prayer for protection. So this we can see that how Brahmaji is very sincerely praying. So one should never think that he is sufficiently advanced on that Maya cannot do anything. That's what Prabhupada also said, that my only concern is my disciples are not sometimes very sufficiently fearful of Maya. So as we become more advanced in Krishna consciousness, actually the healthy fear factor increases much more. The person actually becomes very much cautious. We can see in one of the pastors of Srila Prabhupada also, when Srila Prabhupada was giving very powerful lecture, he said that I kicked Mr. Lust with my face. I kicked the face of Mr. Lust with my boot. Prabhupada was telling like that. And devotees were Jai Prabhupada and all that. They were so happy, ecstatic to hear this. And then later they found Srila Prabhupada was praying in front of deities. Very genuinely he was praying. Then somebody asked Prabhupada, what you are praying? The Prabhupada said, I am praying to Srimati Radharani that please protect me from Maya. And he was shocked. Just now you were explaining that, I kick the face of Mr. Lust with my boot. Then how it is? The Prabhupada said, because I am always praying like that, so I can say this way. So Prabhupada was always taking shelter of Srimati Radharani, like that. That's how he had that confidence. So devotee's confidence is in, sincerely always praying and depending on the Lord for his protection, like that. So this is how Brahmaji offers prayers. We can also see a little bit that how Srila Rupa Goswami also was empowered to write literatures. This is in Antelila. So here we see that how Srila Rupa Goswami was staying with Haridas Thakur, and there Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come to meet Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur introduced Rupa Goswami to Mahaprabhu, and then Mahaprabhu was very pleased. And then, of course, Mahaprabhu was very much impressed by the qualities of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami both. So he was telling, Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and many other devotees that please bless him, please empower him unlimitedly, so that he can create wonderful literatures, he can write wonderful literatures like that. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very much asking, wanting to get him the blessings of so many Vaishnavas. And Mahaprabhu himself, blessed him so much. And that's how he was writing beautiful poetry. So when Ramananda Rai, when he inquired from Rupa Goswami, you tell what all things you're writing. And when he started quoting, before he started quoting from Vidagdha Madhava, and then later from Lalita Madhava also, when he was hearing. So Ramananda Rai was very much stunned, seeing that how beautifully he has composed everything. Then he says, Srila Ramananda Rai submitted the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the super excellence of Srila Rupa Goswami's poetic expression, and began to praise it as if he had thousands of mouths. And then he says that without your mercy, such poetic expressions, Ramananda Rai is telling to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, without your mercy, such poetic expressions would be impossible for an ordinary living entity to write. My guess is that you have given him the power. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replies, I met Srila Rupa Goswami at Prayag. He attracted and satisfied me because of his qualities. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not partial to some or neutral to others. One can actually draw the attention of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by service. So then he says, the one is further empowered by the Lord to act in such a way that everyone can appreciate his service. Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam tadhaiva bhajamyaham. Krishna is responsive. If one tries to render his best service to the Lord gives him the power to do so. Tesham satadayuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam, that verse. To those who are, okay. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his special favor on Srila Rupa Goswami because Rupa Goswami wanted to serve the Lord to the best of his ability. Such is the reciprocation between the devotee and the Lord in the discharge of devotional duties. This is what we see, that the service attitude is, which is very attracting to the Lord. So here, Rupa Goswami was very eager to serve the Lord to the best of his ability. And of course, they had the quality of humility and many others. So Lord was very much attracted to these qualities, and that's how he was willing to empower. So another important point is, Lord is responsive, and he's telling that he's not partial to some or neutral to others. No, he's willing to empower everyone to get engaged in the service of the Lord in a beautiful manner, and that's how the existence of that devotee is perfect, and he can attain the Lord also. So this is how we find that Srila Rupa Goswami Pada also was empowered by the Lord because of his sincere desire to serve the Lord, his willingness to serve the Lord that way. So another place in 4th canto, we find that the Malaya Dhvaja, after his departure, whether be when she was in great lamentation, that time the Brahmana boy comes, because we are talking about service attitude and service to the Lord, the eagerness to serve the Lord. So how it happens is through the via media of his spiritual master. So there, this very beautiful lines come that how actually one attains the Lord by sincere service to the spiritual master. That's how he serves the Lord. Because serving the Lord is not something we have to concoct, we have to just have some kind of brainstorm or something. We can have the brainstorm about what the instruction of the spiritual master and try to align with his desires. So here, very beautifully it says, I'll just read that. So it says, the appearance of Krishna is sitting with the living entity side by side. And then so the Lord is sitting within the heart of every living entity as Suhrit, the best friend. The Lord is always eager to have the living entity come home back to Godhead, as we discussed before also. Sitting with the living entity as witness, the Lord gives him all chances to enjoy himself materially. This is for those who are wanting to forget the Lord. But whenever there is an opportunity, the Lord gives good counsel and advises the living entity to abandon trying to become happy through material adjustment. As Paramatma also, seeing some spark of sincerity, he may give that indication. And instead turn his face toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrender unto him. When one becomes serious to follow the mission of the spiritual master, his resolution is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I was so stunned to see this line, that is telling only when he is taking the resolution. Sincere, genuine resolution itself is tantamount to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This means meeting the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the instruction of the spiritual master. This is technically called Vani Seva. Then he says, one should serve the words of the spiritual master. The disciple must stick to whatever the spiritual master orders. Simply by following on that line, one sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It says, in conclusion, if a disciple is very serious to execute the mission of the spiritual master, he immediately associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by Vani or Vapu. This is the only secret of success in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Instead of being eager to see the Lord in some bush of Vrindavan, while at the same time engaging in sense gratification, if one instead sticks to the principle of following the words of the spiritual master, he will see the Supreme Lord without difficulty. So the service to the Lord is best possible under the guidance of the spiritual master. This is what Srila Prabhupada said in Bhagavad Gita purport also, in that Yasaknaga Buddhi verse purport. So the best way one can get the clarity about how he should serve everything is basically when one meditates on the instruction of the spiritual master and very genuinely and sincerely, he attempts to serve the instruction of the spiritual master. Then all the benedictions are there, because that way the Supreme Lord is pleased, and when the Supreme Lord is pleased with that service attitude, then he gives him all full benediction, as we read before also. So this is how the Lord is pleased to bestow all the benediction to the devotee. So I have a small recording, 2 minutes, if I can play, of Prabhupada's. And then by that we conclude. So here we find that how Prabhupada is telling about we have to work very sincerely, he was telling, having faith in Krishna and his Guru, and Guru, like that very nicely explains. I'll just play that.
So, is it difficult to be a preacher? You are going to be preacher, going to Japan. Do you think it is difficult? It is difficult. Simply say like this. Is it? The God is great. Don't be puffed up that you are great, you are all powerful, you are God. Give up these foolish ideas. God is great. He has created this world. He is giving you food. He has given you body. Just simply try to convince them these principles and you become a preacher. So is there any question? Let's try to understand. This is our philosophy, Krishna consciousness preaching. You don't require any high type of philosophical speculation or this ism, that ism, that ism. No. Simple truth. That's all. Just try to glorify the Supreme Lord, the Great. That's all. And whatever capacity you have got, not that you have to qualify yourself in this way. It is very nice to preach Krishna consciousness. When I was first in Boston, I was thinking on the sea that I have come to preach here Krishna consciousness. I see these people are so much addicted to so many nonsense things. How I shall convince them? What shall I tell them? How they will understand me? It's complete different culture. The country. I was thinking like that. Anyway, when Krishna has sent me, let me try. Otherwise I shall go back. Yes, actually I was thinking like that. I never thought that so many boys and girls will understand me and work with me. From the very beginning I was thinking that it is impossible, because their mode of living, their mode of culture, everything is different. And I brought Krishna consciousness. I'll have to say, you don't take meat, don't take intoxication, don't have illicit sex. How they will be able to do that? I was thinking. But by Krishna's grace, everything is possible. That is my practical experience. So, we have to work very sincerely, keeping our faith in Krishna, do this preaching work. It is not difficult. He will be happy. And whatever service you render to Krishna, that becomes your permanent asset, permanent bank balance, never to be spoiled. Such nice thing.
Hare Krishna. So we'll pause here. Maybe one question we can take in case. That's fine. If anybody has any question, comments, anything. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande.